founder and CEO of ShareLove.Fund. Today we have the famous Peter Icavello from Presence Wellness in Westport, Connecticut. It is week 18 of our RPYT yoga teacher training. I'm going to back this up so my head doesn't get decapitated on film. We are live, blips and bloopers and all. So today is week 18. Each week we sort of have a celebrity pose that we highlight. The pose of the week is, whoopsie daisy, Warrior 3. So that is that. Warrior 3 is a balancing pose. And a lot of you are pregnant and not really so interested in Warrior 3. If you did try it out with me, just try it on the other side, because evenness is key. And those who can't do teach. So whether or not you are doing Warrior 3 or not, as a teacher earning your prenatal teaching degree, you should just know about it. And then, so that's our highlight. We're going to go into a regular prenatal yoga class with an emphasis on breathing. We received a lot of questions on Teachable about breathing and breathing techniques. And thank you so much for your questions and comments. Thank you so much for joining our course on Teachable. And please bring on the questions and comments. I'm getting a little warmed up, so I'm going to lose the sweatshirt. I also recommend no socks so you don't slip. And Peter, sorry to put this here and there, but I was just wondering, are there any sort of like prenatal tips for Warrior 3, or maybe we get into that afterward?
No, I would say the biggest thing are your blocks. Like, so like maybe the more weight, the less balance you feel, the less. Notice to always have blocks or something that you could lean into. Even a chair you can lean into.
Okay.
See, so for support, because just because you have blocks or any other type of support doesn't mean you're weak. It actually helps you aid to get into the pose and get alignment, and that's important. And alignment is very important. So see how Ashley's here with the blocks? That's one way. You can also use a chair. Maybe throughout the video, I'll bring over a chair, and we can also demonstrate how to go into Warrior 3 with a chair.
Yeah, or we can sort of like.
Yeah, you can use one of those.
You know, like if this was a chair, then you know, you can do
that like that, exactly. So there's many different ways to get into Warrior 3. We will we're always going to start with the sun salutation, and then we'll move into Warrior 3, which are highlight poses. Each video will highlight a pose, and we'll start emphasizing breath work. So the next few videos, while we're filming together, what we'll do is we'll emphasize this breath. Because this breath is really the only breath you need in yoga. However, there are 8 different types of breath work depending on which yoga you practice. You know, in our basic 200 hours, we teach you many different types of breath work. But for our purposes in prenatal, there are certain breath works you wouldn't do. So today, they call this the golden breath, but it's also known as the 3-part yogic breath or Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath is the one breath where it's a 3-part yogic breath. So I'm going to have Ashley actually sit on a cushion or a block. And the reason why we sit on a cushion or a block is because you always want the pelvis and your pelvic floor to be open, ready to receive, right? And you want your hips higher than your knees. So good job of that. So if you don't have a block or a cushion, you can sit on a pillow. You can roll a pillow in half, you can roll a blanket in half, you can take something from your couch. You don't need a yoga mat and you don't need props to do yoga. You need your body. And maybe just a few little aids like a chair or a cushion. You don't have to go out and buy anything. That's the beauty of yoga.
And also like using your creativity to find the things around you, like instead of a chair when we use the mat, actually, you know, using your creativity, that's actually stimulating two things. It's solving your props problem, but it's also empowering in a way.
It's 100% empowering because not everyone we teach has access to everything that we do. We have to know that as yoga teachers, right? So from here, actually, I'm going to ask you to please close your eyes or have a soft gaze. And root your sacrum, your tailbone down toward the earth. Lift up through the crown of the head toward the sky to create length in your spine. A slight tuck of the chin back. And then have the palms face up. Draw your shoulders down and away from the ears. And then begin to soften the space between the eyebrows by relaxing the eyelids. Soften the jaw by parting the lips. This also unclenches the jaw. We unintentionally or subconsciously hold a lot of tension in our face. And then soften the heart by opening the chest and lifting and drawing your shoulder blades gently in. And then make one tiny adjustment by pulling your belly button in towards your spine for support. And then begin to turn your focus and attention inward as we begin to quiet and go inward. Yoga is an inward journey. Yoga is union, one with yourself and others in community. And sometimes just right here is all you need to center, to be open, to begin to transform from the inside out, create space, cultivate presence. So we'll start with our 3-part yogic breath or golden breath, whichever way we want to describe. Or Ujjayi breath if you want the Sanskrit name, Ujjayi breath. From here, I will ask Ashton very gently, again, we do not do any forceful breaths while we're pregnant, whether we're in our first trimester or our last trimester. Depends if you want the baby out, but that's another story.
Ask your doctor.
Ask your doctor first, exactly.
Nothing here is medical advice.
Exactly.
But
Nothing is medical advice. Always be safe. Make sure you check with your physician. If you're a high-risk pregnancy,
watch another video.
Not
ours.
Just do gentle yoga.
Yeah.
Like this practice is okay, but I would suggest sitting up in a chair, not coming onto a cushion. So just.
But our legal team says we cannot teach high-risk pregnancy.
Exactly.
So please.
Exactly. If you know you're high
ask
risk,
your doctor.
please refrain from doing any of these practices. So from here, begin to just close your eyes or have a soft gaze. Totally up to you. And on your next inhale, very gently, inhale through the nose and fill the belly like a balloon. And then breathe into the chest, rib cage, flare the ribs, front, back, right. And then breathe all the way up into the heart, towards your clavicles or your collarbones. And then exhale through the mouth from the heart, the ribs and belly. And then pause at the bottom of that breath. And then inhale as you're drawing the energy up through your pelvic floor, filling the belly like a balloon, filling the ribs, noticing the rib cage expanding, and then breathing all the way up to the heart, the collarbone. And containing the breath. And then exhaling from the heart, the ribs and belly. Inhale through the mouth. 3-part yogic breath. Filling the belly, filling the ribs and chest. And exhale through the mouth from the heart or chest, ribs and belly. Inhale, belly, ribs and chest. Exhale, chest, ribs and belly. This can also be your meditation to ground, to center us. Or if if you're feeling a little anxious, this is a great way to come back home to yourself, to ground. Inhale, fill the belly, ribs and chest. Exhale, chest, ribs and belly. Take about 3 more rounds of breath, staying with that focus of filling the belly without force. Inhale through the nose, filling the rib cage to stretch out the ribs, and breathing all the way up into the heart where collarbones, clavicle. Pausing, and then exhaling from the heart, the ribs and belly. Take 3 more rounds of conscious breath. Inhale, filling the belly, ribs, and chest. Exhaling from the mouth, from the chest, the ribs and belly. 1 more round of slow, conscious breath. Inhale through the nose as we fill the belly like a balloon, flaring the ribs, opening the rib cage, and breathing all the way up into the heart. And then exhale from the heart, the ribs and belly. And then very gently, very softly, just allow the eyes to float open if your eyes are closed. And just notice how you feel. Just notice. Just notice. And then from here we'll begin to our practice. We're going to ask Ashley to stand, and we're going to start with a sun salutation. Having the blocks close by, having our props close by. We'll come to the top of the mat, and let's begin to center and ground in our mountain pose. So I'll ask Ashley again, with all the reminders, standing up through the crown of the head, lifting up through the crown. Drawing the shoulders back and away from the ears and pointing the hands forward. Pulling the belly in. Scissoring the thighs in towards one another or squeezing the thighs, dropping the sacrum down. Grounding through the feet by lifting the toes and just shifting your weight forward and back. Just shifting your weight forward and back to awaken the feet and ground. And then when you're ready, settle your toes down. And then pull the belly in to support the spine. You can have your eyes closed or a soft gaze. And if you want to, you can even tap into that 3-part yogic breath. Two more breaths here. And on your next inhale, we'll sweep the arms out and overhead. Exhale, forward fold with the knees bent, belly in.
And
Inhale.
for the prenatal, you can.
Yeah, for prenatal, if you're in your second to third trimester, you can always bring the legs further apart to make space. Inhale, flat back, hands to shins, flat back. So lift the back up a little higher. Yeah, flat back.
Right,
Exhale,
you meant like do a pancake. I'm like, I'm doing the best I can.
flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, plant the hands down onto the earth. Step back to plank pose. Now, depending on which trimester you're in, I always recommend knees, chest, chin. Knees down,
Okay.
chest and chin. If you're in your second or third trimester,
Yeah, like I think
you want to use the blocks to create space for the belly.
it's
Just like that, create space for the belly. Yeah, and then come into cobra. This is cobra. So if you're in your first trimester, you could drop down a little bit.
yeah.
In the second or third trimester, you might want to be up or avoid this altogether in your third trimester or lift. If you're feeling strong, you can tuck the toes, untuck the toes in an upward dog to make create space. And then exhale, tuck the toes under, downward facing dog. Inhale, step the right foot forward, left foot forward, forward, forward. Exhale it out. Inhale, hands to shins, half lift. Press into the feet. Exhale, rise to mountain pose. Arms sweep out and overhead. Hands to heart center. Just your basic sun salute. Inhale, arms reach out and overhead. Exhale, chair pose. Chair pose is always a great way to surge and be in. And so I like to integrate chair pose even into sun salutation. Why? For strength and power. Drop the sacrum down. So drop the hips back, back. Good. Pull that belly in. And you can even come into your 3-part yogic breath if you'd like. Notice it's always an option. Draw the shoulders back and away from the ears. Beautiful. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. So if you have a belly, you can, one, bring the legs apart, or you can rest your hands on a block for support.
Okay.
It's another way to support.
Yeah, to kind of help come forward.
Yes. On your next inhale, hands to shins for half lift. Exhale, plant the hands and step the right foot back and drop the knee down. Now inhale, sweep the arms out and overhead. Low lunge or Anjayasana. Beautiful. Inhale. Exhale, lower the elbows to shoulder height to get a back bend. Beautiful.
I was going to say this low lunge is also a really great modification for Warrior One for pregnant people that might feel a little wobbly. And you really actually work a lot of balancing muscles. Actually, sometimes balancing on your leg could even be harder. So you get to work all that balancing, but you don't have too far to fall.
Exactly. And one other thing here is, if just actually put your hands on your left thigh for a second. One great thing here is if you really want to figure out the balance here, you press down really strongly into the foot that's down. So in this case, her right foot, you press the top of the right foot down, the shin and knee. And if you need support on the knee, you can always place a blanket underneath there. If you don't have access to a blanket, you can always put a sheet down or a pillow. So you see, you're practicing balance. This is what we're doing. So I'll have her actually look forward, gaze. Her gaze is forward. And she'll draw her shoulders away from the ears. One other way to get the balance in is she'll squeeze the thighs in towards one another. Notice that when she squeezes the thighs, she lifts up and down the waist ever so slightly. So that's her balance right there. Then let's not forget that front foot. Steps into the big toe of the front foot. I'm just going to slide into camera here. Slide into camera for a moment. So to get extra balance, have her place her hands here. She could press right into this foot here. Press right on. No. Just press down. Yes. That, and then press the top of that foot down. That gets you nice and balanced there, right? So now you're nice and solid, and then you can inhale the arms overhead.
And like squeezing the legs together.
And squeezing the legs together.
Helps with balance.
And then lift up and out of the waist. And now press this knee forward toward, leave the arms up. Press this knee forward towards me. More. Beautiful. So now she's in her pose. No matter what size you are, you can play with balance here. So if you're having difficulty with balance and you want to get a little heat, a little strength, she's stretching the whole entire right side, stretching the hamstring on the left. Beautiful, Ashley. Inhale. And this is where the blocks really come in really good, depending on the size of the belly. Exhale, fold at the hip, plant the hands onto the block. Inhale, step the left foot back into plank. Now, we're going to pretend that Ashley's in her third trimester just for this variation. She's going to untuck her toes. And now either come into a cobra or upward facing dog. So you see there's room for the belly there. And if you're a little nervous about having the belly just hang, or if you're feeling a little off, like, I don't like this, you can always slide a cushion underneath there, or a blanket. Inhale, tuck the toes under. Exhale, downward facing dog. And yes, it is okay to do a down dog no matter what trimester you're in, what size of the belly, as long as your upper body can support you and your lower body can support you. Now inhale, step the right foot forward, lower the left knee down. Beautiful. So see, she's set up for the other side. So inhale, hands to the thigh. I always recommend hands to the thigh, especially if you're feeling a little off center. She'll hug the thighs in towards one another. She'll press really strongly into the top of the left foot, left shin, and then she'll press into the big toe of the right foot. That helps with balance. Doesn't it help stabilize a little bit? And then she'll lean forward to that right knee. No, the right knee comes forward. Good. And exhale, the arms overhead. Beautiful, Ashley. Now, she wants to get a little back bend here. She can draw the shoulders down away from the ears, pull the shoulder blades in towards one another, and then just arch the head back just ever so slightly. This really challenges the balance. Now, if you feel, this is nothing for me, I'll ask Ashley to close her eyes for a brief moment, and then open. Close, and then open. It adds a little heat, and it takes you off center just a bit.
He just likes to see me fall over
Exactly.
on my video
and crash.
Because I can't, I have to
Focus.
be polite, yeah.
And now from here, inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold the hip, hands to blocks. Inhale, step back to plank.
There's no freebies.
Exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Step your right foot forward, left foot forward, forward fold. Inhale. And then exhale it out. Inhale, half lift. Press into the feet. Exhale, rise to stand, mountain pose. Beautiful.
That felt great, and also really opened up the inner thigh, which I feel like that's a nice stretch when you're pregnant. There's so much you can't do, so then when you really start stretching stuff, you realize actually there's a lot of mobility growth areas that can be explored.
Perfectly said. I couldn't have said it better. That's why I do these. That's why I love these type of lunges, and I think they're very safe. So now we're going to explore just modifications and working our way into our peak pose. All right. So inhale, arms reach out and overhead. Exhale, chair pose. Let's get those legs nice and fired up. Inhale, step the right foot back. So we're going to be in high lunge for a moment. So I would like Ashley to imagine if her feet are on railroad tracks. So bringing her feet a little wider. So step the right foot over to the right. Yes. Now the same thing as if we were in the low warrior. Just slightly bring your left hip back. Good. Press into the big toe of the left foot. Step your right foot back just a bit more.
Oh, I'm so confused.
Step the right foot.
Okay, there's that right one.
Okay. Right, the real right foot. Exactly.
I thought you were speaking in code, so.
I always do. It is my code, right and left of my code.
You can't see us off camera, but there's a big sign, right and left. I'm just kidding.
And then now from here, I'm going to ask Ashley to fold at the hip and reach for the blocks. And then, so if she had a little bit bigger of a belly, she would bring the blocks up to the next height. So let's just do that for now, for our purposes. And then from here, I would ask Ashley to squeeze her thighs together. Press really strong into that left foot. Leave it bent. Anchor the heels of her hands into the block, shoulders away from the ears. And then very gently begin to float the right foot. Float the right leg, left the right, no, the right, that's the left.
Okay, sorry.
Float the right. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little, not too high, not too high. Keep your left knee bent though. Keep your left knee bent. Left.
Okay, I have to say that I felt very relaxed with the breathing, so I think I just really relaxed.
Keep your left knee bent a little bit more.
Okay.
Good. Now, drop your right hip down ever so slightly. Good. So we're setting ourselves up for success here. So now from here, I'll have her step the right foot back and then come back to high lunge. Beautiful. High lunge.
Okay.
High lunge. Come back to high lunge.
Okay.
Beautiful. So again, working our way up to warrior 3. And then from here, inhale, step your right foot forward. Rest the hands alongside you. Close your eyes for a moment. And just notice. Just notice. Beautiful. Palms facing forward. Imagine yourself, just envision yourself flying high in that warrior three. If you can see it, you can achieve it. So envision. I know in yoga they teach us to be present, but just imagine being present all the way through into your warrior three. So that was the first attempt at a modification and practicing getting into warrior three on the right side. So we have to even ourselves out. So inhale, arms reach out and overhead. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale, step the left foot back to high lunge. And now from here, exhale, fold at the hip, grab the blocks, keep the knee bent, float the left foot. Holding onto the block, floating the left foot. Stepping into, pressing into the big toe of that left foot, float. In practice, take the left hand off the block. We didn't do this on the other side. Take the left hand down, take the right hand off the block, and put it down. Now stepping the left foot back, coming back to high lunge. Beautiful. Inhale. Exhale, step the left foot forward. Rest the arms alongside you. Mountain pose. See how much easier? Because sometimes we future pace, sometimes we anticipate. I would say just keep an open mind. Just keep an open mind. Don't worry. Be present. To feel safe is to be present. To not anticipate. See, she didn't anticipate there. And she knew her left from her right. It's when we future pace or anticipate, or sometimes we're too relaxed because of the meditation and breathing in the beginning, where we lose left and right. FYI, in our yoga classes, we lose left and right together all the time. It's just part of the day. It's part of the dynamic between the two of us here. We lose left and right all the time. All right, inhale, arms reach out and overhead. Exhale, chair pose. Now we're gonna approach this differently. Inhale, hands to the blocks. Exhale, kick the left foot straight back. Beautiful. Now, take the right arm straight back. Left arm straight back. Straighten out that right leg. And breathe. Virabhadrasana 3 or warrior 3. One more breath, inhale. Exhale, step the left foot forward, forward, forward. So there we go, peak pose. We're gonna take it a little further. Press into the feet, inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, arms reach out and overhead. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale, hands to blocks. Keep that left leg bent. Step the right foot straight back and lift. Drop the right hip down. Straighten out that left leg. Now take both arms straight behind us, straight back. Floating, warrior 3, flying high. One more breath, inhale. And exhale, drop the right foot next to the left, forward, forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, press into the feet, rise to stand. Hands to heart center. Close your eyes or have a soft gaze. You did it. Notice how you feel. So we're going to take this and add a little bit more heat to this. Why? Because I want to step it up a notch, because Ashley's doing so well. Also, last week, her wrists were bothering her, so I think these are great practices for her to stay off the wrist. Even though they're feeling better, we don't want to push it too much further, so we're going to keep Ashley in standing poses today. She doesn't know she's going to be standing on her toes soon. I'm just teasing Ashley. All right, inhale, arms reach out and overhead. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale, step the left foot back to high lunge. Exhale, fold at the hip, reach for the blocks. Now, inhale, take that left knee, bring it right into chest. Straighten out that right leg. Exhale, kick that left leg straight back. Inhale, left knee into chest. Exhale, step it straight back. Inhale, left knee into chest. Exhale, step it straight back. Beautiful. Release the hands from the blocks and float for 3 breaths. 2, 3. Step the left foot next to the right, forward, forward. Inhale. Exhale, hug the opposite elbows. That right glute says, oh my God, what are you doing to me? Why? Why? I need torture. I don't need torture. Just different ways of approaching and adding advanced moves into just one pose. Different variations. Inhale, hands to shins. Press into the feet. Exhale, rise to stand. I have a client who asked me, and this is a funny little side thing, have I seen Braveheart? Because sometimes I take them through these yoga poses or yoga classes, and I keep layering into the same pose a little bit more heat, and he says, you must have been the choreographer for Braveheart or something.
Oh, that's awesome. You should do that. Have a Braveheart heart opener yoga class.
Have you seen the movie Braveheart? It's with oh my goodness, what's his name again? I forgot his name. Braveheart is a movie about Scotland trying to oust the King of England. Yeah. So it's a lot of torture, a lot of fighting, a lot of stuff. But no, this is not a Braveheart class. We will get into Braveheart classes. Maybe in our regular classes, we'll add a little bit of heat in some vigor, so we'll do some vigor. But this is a way to add a little vigor without doing much. Like, Ashley's not moving all over the mat, but she's still getting her heart rate up, still getting those legs and hips nice and strong, and by holding onto the blocks, also working her upper body. So just know that there's a lot of different ways to build heat. So inhale, arms reach out and overhead. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale, fold at the hip, reach for the block. Exhale, hands to shins. Inhale, step the right foot back. Right now we're doing the right side. Bend your left knee. Exhale, float. Reach for the blocks if you'd like. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now on the other side, we reach for the blocks. This side, we're going to take the hands to heart center. And then when inhale, bring the left knee to right knee to chest. Exhale, step back. And float. Inhale, right knee to chest. Exhale, step back, float. Inhale, right knee to chest and hold. Breath in. Breath out. Exhale, step back and float. Inhale, step the right foot next to the left. Fold, fold.
It's nice having the blocks because you know they're there if you want them.
That's right. Forward fold. Hug the opposite elbows. Let the head, neck, and shoulders go. Inhale, hands to shins. Press into the feet. Exhale, rise to stand. Hands to heart center. So if you want to share with the class maybe the different experiences, or maybe not, totally up to you.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I really like to think about when I teach prenatal and for prenatal sequencing is that when you're really big, just the act of going from a seated position to a standing position, and you don't need to follow me on this, I'm just demonstrating, like that seems to take a lot of energy. Those transitions are hard. And so I like the idea that like we can just do a lot of movement standing up, and if balancing is not what we're comfortable with, we can use a block or we can use a chair. And the cool thing about a chair is you can use the back of a chair if you want something higher, or the front of the chair. So I like that for a lot of third trimester people, and Peter's getting work out here with our uber heavy chairs. So basically with the chair you can use the back end to be higher, or and I'll be a little bit off camera, but if you want to kind of see if you can balance on your own, you can kind of use the low end, or either way. Not really what we're doing here, but just like with the ballet background, you can also, use the chair to kind of lengthen.
So I just wanted to step into camera to show you one little thing here too. Actually, place both of your hands here. Right? So now.
So we call this our airplane yoga.
Airplane yoga.
Yeah,
so what I'm going to ask Ashley to do is I'm going to ask her to drop her right hip down. So stay in that position. I'm just going to position her foot down, right? So if there's a lot of times in prenatal or in any class, we always complain that our glutes don't feel strong enough. So watch this. I'm gonna have Ashley press this hip down. Now, let's actually, you know what, push this foot down, step back a little bit more. There you go. Now, just step this, yeah, there you go.
The chair is also really good for alignment. I mean, when you think about dancers, professional ballerinas, like they know what they're doing, but they still do a bar class.
Yep.
So using a prop doesn't mean beginner. Yeah, it means technical practice.
Exactly. So now, I want Ashley to be in her glute, her left glute. In her, yeah, so that means she has to drop her right hip down, right, to be in her left glute. Beautiful, Ashley, beautiful. I'm gonna let go, so hold on. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm just gonna hold this chair. Beautiful, Ashley. So you see that perfect alignment here. And if she wants to practice a little balance, she can take her left hand to chest, hold on to the chair.
Yeah, but and not and leaning forward too much.
No, one hand at a time. Oh, there you go.
Sorry.
Do both. That's okay. So we're just, again, little ways to practice. Little ways to practice. If you don't have access, if you're in a small area and you have a little bed with you, you can always rest one hand onto the bed to the side. So there's many ways to practice balance. So I'll get rid of this prop. Thank you, Ashley, for letting me
No worries.
have a little bit of fun with props. Now from here, I'm going to ask you to come into chair pose.
No pun intended.
Exactly.
Oh, it would have been easier with the chair.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Inhale. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. And exhale. So again, we're going to add a little bit of heat, add a little bit of vigor to our practice this morning. We're going to ask Ashley just to lift her heels. An inch. Just an inch. As if she could slide something underneath the heels. You want to get a little cardio. You want to get a little strength. You want to get practice balance even further. Perfect. You want to move and get the swelling out of the feet. This is a great way to get the swelling out of the feet. Breathe, Ashley. Inhale. Exhale. Getting those calves pumping. And you can also play. You could lower the heels, lift the heels, lower the heels, lift the heels. Getting pumping the lymph from the lower body to the upper body. Beautiful, because we're going to do a little lymph drainage. Let's pretend we're in our third trimester and our ankles are swollen. Right? So we're going to lift, hold, and then lower the hip, lower the heels, and rise to stand. So now our feet are a little bit more awake. We're a little awakened in those feet. And we're going to inhale, arms reach out in the back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Exhale, drop the knees. Untuck the toes, up dog. Or either up dog or cobra. Whatever's in your practice. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhale, exhale. Wide kneed child pose. So knees apart, width of the mat, I always suggest child pose. Beautiful, Ashley. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Beautiful. And then now from here, let's begin to turn this puppy upside down by lying on our back and bringing our knees to chest. So depending on which trimester we're in, we want support or not support, depending on which trimester. Let's pretend we're in our first trimester and it's okay to lie on our back. All right? So this is we're doing some lymph drainage here because I think it's important to know that it's good to incorporate all of the benefits.
Can I just, if it's okay, can I just tell like someone in their second or third trimester how to modify in case they're watching?
Yes,
maybe
you
on
were
their
going to do
side?
that?
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, if you want to, do you want to do it now?
Oh wait, I don't know if you have a recommendation, like, or
For what?
where we're going with this, what they should do. So if you're on in your first trimester, you're welcome to lay on your back. Later on, you can lay on your back, but for a limited time, like move around when you feel the need, and I don't know if you want.
So my plan was to do show you how to do a little lymph drainage,
Okay,
and then we
awesome.
were gonna do a little bit of opening up the hips, and then we were gonna do our savasana as if we were in third trimester.
Okay, perfect.
Okay?
So yeah, so just move around. If this doesn't feel comfortable, your body will tell you. So
Yes.
make it
So now from here, bring your knees into towards your shoulders. Knees towards your shoulders, or knees to armpits, or legs wide. Yes.
And thank you, by the way. This feels like a treat.
Yes,
So
it is a
thank
treat.
you.
So listen, we're pregnant, right? So we have to be able to open up those hips. And then now from here, let's come into a happy baby. So if you feel comfortable, you can happy baby. One great thing to do in this happy baby is you can lift your head, tuck the chin, press the back of the head down. It's a great way to stretch out the back of the neck. And then imagine if you had something under your hips, you can press your sacrum down at the same time. That really gets into the hamstrings. You feel the difference in the hamstrings when you try to press your lower back down, actually? Good. That stretches the lower back, stretches your hamstrings. Beautiful. Beautiful. And then from here, release the arms alongside you. And then extend the legs up toward the sky. So just here, just staying right here, this begins to, this is one of my favorite poses. It's a two-part pose. It's a relaxing pose, but yet strengthening pose. We're strengthening our core, but also beginning to have the blood and lymph fluid from the lower body begin to drain into the upper body, and it actually exits out through don't think like your right arm is like faucet, but the lymph drains into the right arm. I'll have Ashley have her palms face up, and then we're just gonna create a little pump by pointing the feet and flexing, pointing and flexing. Okay, this is great for if you have ankle soreness or leg soreness, if you have swelling, really great for all that stuff. And then I'm gonna have her create some circles at the ankles. Slow, slow, even slower, consciously, slower, 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 and slower. Beautiful. Couple more. Breathe, inhale and exhale. Okay, and then from here, begin to just bend your knees, lower the feet down to earth, and then cross your right ankle over your left knee. And then press your right knee away with your right hand. No, keep the feet like that, just press the right knee away. Beautiful. Just stretching out that right hip a little. This gets into the hips. And then lower the right foot down. And then left ankle over the right knee, and press the left knee away. Great way to stretch out the hips. There's a lot to do when you're pregnant. Don't think because you're pregnant you're limited. I always say we're limitless. Our bodies are limitless. And then from here, I would love for Ashley to stretch out her thighs and stretch out her shoulders. So we're gonna do a 2-for-1 special. Stretches are on sale today. So drop the left foot down. Again, this is first trimester going into second, and as long as you feel comfortable being on your back. And from here, Ashley, I'll ask you to walk your feet towards your hands. And we'll have a modification for these stretches in third trimester in a moment. And I'm going to ask you to please lift your hips very slowly. Inhale, up toward the sky. Lift your chin just a bit so you can breathe. Lift the chin just a bit so you can breathe. And then now I'll ask Ashley to interlace her hands beneath her. Press her elbows and fingers down to lift her chest just a bit more. Good, good. Pressing into her big toes. Beautiful. This stretches out the thighs, this stretches out your hip flexors, so as your chest and shoulders. Just a few more breaths here, Ashley. Inhale. And exhale. Slowly begin to release the hold of the hands. Release the hold. And on an 8 count, lower your hips toward the earth. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So now we're going to take this into a second and third trimester prop up. So just in case you don't feel comfortable lying on your back, or a doctor tells you that it's no good for you to lie on your back because of the way the baby is riding up high into the belly or into the ribs. Okay? So I'm going to ask Ashley to please come over onto her right side or left side, depending on whichever side she feels comfortable, and press herself up into a seated position. Beautiful. While I set up our props here. How are we doing?
Good.
Doing
He's
good?
the best at props. He's the certified massage therapist and everything, so I get a little excited, yeah.
I'm a prop specialist. So if you're in your second trimester, this might be good enough. Yes, this might be good enough. And if you want your hips to stretch, you can bring the soles of your feet together, Ashley.
I'm ready to just like pull down the shade. See you.
Soles of the feet together, this is great.
Okay.
So, but if she's in her third trimester, maybe the baby's riding up a little higher, right? So what we would do is I'll say to Ashley, I always will check, especially if you're doing, I always recommend, I can't say it enough, I stress, if you're a teacher teaching prenatal class, I suggest a small class, because you want to be as hands-on as possible and have enough props. If you're home, if you're teaching virtually, be mindful to have your students have as many props handy. Pillows are huge so that they can prop themselves up. If I was teaching a one-on-one like we are now, I would ask Ashley, if she's in her third trimester, Ashley, do you feel comfortable here, or do you feel like you need to be lifted a little higher? And she might tell me,
I need to be lifted a little higher just because I kind of want to see him sweat a little bit.
You got it. So I would ask her to sit up a little, and then I would place a blanket. And if this still doesn't feel, it's only a few inches, it still doesn't feel, I might go.
It's really nice, and also I have to say, the texture of this woven blanket, texture can, women when they're pregnant can be more sensitive, and the textures are kind of nice. Like sometimes a smooth pillow might feel good, but in my case, I'm always sort of slipping, so I kind of like the woven texture. It makes me feel more grounded,
So one other thing I can have Ashley do without even changing props is I can have her sit up and then come a little closer to the prop.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Right? And then now lie back. So you see she's even up a little higher.
So yeah, now it's physics.
So now if we need a little bit more, physics is everything in yoga. You didn't know that you were going to be a physics teacher as well. So you're going to lift up even higher. You can take another blanket or another pillow. And then she can lie against this. So now she's almost upright.
Yeah.
This is how, if I was teaching, my first time teaching yoga, I had a prenatal client in a regular yoga class, and I always brought extra props for her, always. Because it was one of those studios where I had to supply my own props for the students. Again, props are everything. There's much, the more, listen, you come with a full suitcase, you come with a full toolbox, and you might only use one tool. Better to have more than less, right?
The blocks are really great because you get the angle that I don't think you can get that, which is soft devices alone. So you can use books.
You can use books, exactly.
You could also maybe even use the back of a chair or the back of something the back of.
Or if worst case scenario, they don't feel comfortable, have them sit upright in a chair. Mm-hmm. That's another way to do a final pose or resting pose for the class. So Ashley's in her third trimester. She's comfortable, right? So we're going to go into our Savasana either with our legs like this in butterfly. If she did not feel comfortable in butterfly, you can take, in our case we'll use a yoga prop because we have them, but you always want to bolster under the knees. So I'm going to ask Ashley to place her legs over this. And now she can fully let go. Her lower back is relaxed, Ashley's relaxed, and then you can run off and leave them here.
It sort of feels like on those pool lawn, like those floating pool chairs.
Oh yeah, lounge chairs.
Yeah, so it's you know, and that's a great feeling of restoration. So thank you. So take notes. I recommend this for your classes when you all get your degrees in teach prenatal.
So from here, Ashley, I'll ask you to turn your focus and attention inward and begin to notice your breath. You can have the palms face up. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And then as we draw our focus and attention inward, begin to notice your breath. Notice if there's any holding. Do you feel as though you can't fully surrender? Allow the body to fully surrender, to feel the support that the body has beneath it, with all the props, and then feel the support of the earth so that we can ground ourselves into that support. I imagine myself as a tree in a rooting down, feeling the anchor of Mother Earth beneath us. I've got you. She's got you. And then very slowly and very mindfully, come back to your three-part yogic breath, or the golden breath. Inhale, fill the belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Inhale, fill the belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Inhale, fill the belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Beautiful. And as we surrender, and we draw the focus and attention inward, let's begin to put space between our thoughts. So we can use this opportunity of surrender, of letting go. To tap into our innermost self. And notice that if any thoughts arise, because when we begin to quiet the mind wants something to do and attach it to. So anchor into the breath. Use the breath as the opportunity to separate the thoughts, to put space between the thoughts. Give the mind something to focus its attention on. And the more we trained our mind to focus on other things besides thoughts, the to-do list, the more the mind begins to say, thank you. We are the masters of our mind. Our mind is a tool. It does not control us. We are separate. The being is separate from the mind. When you learn how to master the mind, the gifts that come with that are exponentially amazing. But it's a constant practice. This focused breath work and meditation helps us lower our blood pressure, helps separate the real from the unreal, helps us anchor. Taps into our creativity. And if the mind begins to wander, focus on that three-part yogic breath. Few more rounds of breath. And then very, very slowly and very mindfully, begin to bring awareness back to the body. Begin to wiggle your fingertips and wiggle your toes. And then very gently rotate your head from side to side. And then the easiest way to come out of this pose is to plant your feet onto the earth. And then take your hands around the bottom of your, around the legs, and just lift yourself up very slowly. And then I would ask Ashley to use the prop that's under her knees to have a seat on. So right there, that becomes her meditation cushion. And she's back to where we started. And then I'll have Ashley close her eyes or have a soft gaze. And just notice how she feels. Just take notice, take inventory. And then she'll draw her hands to heart center. Maybe this is just an offering. Bow her chin to chest. And she's not bowing to me. She's bowing to herself for taking the time to be here. I often wondered when I bowed in yoga class, I always bow to myself, because it's the only person that I have to look up to is me. Yes, there are models, there are people, but we should look up to ourselves. Be proud of we've done so much to get to where we are. It doesn't matter the path. What matters is where you are, where you're standing now. Presence. Appreciate all the roller coaster of life that got you here. To be able to take the time to nourish mind, body, spirit. To have the gift of this time. To take a class, to learn. To have the opportunity to grow. And as we lift our head in gratitude, the light in me honors the light in Ashley and all of you out there in YouTube land. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much for your time, Peter. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined our course on Teachable. You make it possible for us to help incarcerated women use their time wisely to earn a yoga teaching degree so that upon release they may have a livelihood should they ever need it that respects their mind, body, and soul. Thank you so much for being a part of our mission at ShareLove.Fund, and I wish you a blessed day. Namaste.
Namaste. Yay.